Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a lesson that I taught recently in my communication improvement class. This is an intermediate to advanced level of grammar, and our lesson was verbs and prepositions followed by gerunds. Now I'm going to lead into this lesson with two sentences. So as I read them, think about which one is correct, or are they both correct? Number 1, I enjoy to watch old movies. Number 2, I enjoy watching old movies. Sentence number 2 is correct. I enjoy watching old movies. Now, in sentence number 1, enjoy is followed by an infinitive, to watch, to plus the verb. And number 2, enjoy is followed by a gerund. So when you use the verb enjoy, you can only follow with a gerund or you can follow with a regular noun, but not an infinitive. In today's video, we're going to learn the rule for using gerunds after verbs and prepositions. So first of all, what is a gerund? Quick review. Usually the first thing we think of is ing. So it is a verb form with ing, basically a present participle used as a noun. So that's what gerunds do. They function as nouns. They can be the subject of a sentence or the object of a verb. Sometimes you can start a sentence with a gerund. In today's lesson, we're going to focus on 3 typical verbs, very common verbs: enjoy, avoid, and the verb phrase don't mind. Now, there are many more verbs that follow with gerunds only, and you can check out the link in the description below for notes and a list of more verbs. There's also a link for a digital quiz for some extra practice, so don't forget to check those out. Now, we only really focus on these 3 verbs because it would be overwhelming to learn this rule and then add 10 or 20 verbs. So learn the rule first, and then you can add on to your list. You can practice with more verbs. So let's look at enjoy. As we said before, we do not follow with an infinitive after the verb enjoy. We use a gerund. For example, what are some things that you enjoy? And let's think of some gerunds. You could say, I enjoy trying new foods. I enjoy traveling. I enjoy camping. You could say going camping. You could say, I enjoy playing sports. Now, as I said before, you could also use just a regular verb. You could say, I enjoy sports. I enjoy soccer. Camping, is usually we use that as a thing. It could be a gerund too, but you could just say camping. You could say, I enjoy movies. I enjoy scary movies. All of those work. But you cannot say, I enjoy to try new foods. You cannot use an infinitive. I enjoy to play sports. No. Or, I enjoy to playing sports. That's not correct either. So we can only just use the gerund or a regular noun. Our next verb is avoid. Also, here we use a gerund. What can you avoid? Or what do you avoid? I avoid staying up late. I avoid eating fast food. I avoid speeding. You cannot say, I avoid to stay up late. I avoid to speed. It might sound okay, and if you forget and you use an infinitive after one of these verbs, people will still understand you. They might think about it for a second. It might sound a little different, but you will be understood. Let's look at our next verb. This is our verb phrase, don't mind. Once again, we follow with a gerund. I don't mind helping you move. I don't mind giving you a ride. I don't mind paying for dinner. We do not say, I don't mind to help you, or I don't mind to pay for dinner. Those are infinitives, and usually, we don't use infinitives after don't mind. Now, let's look at prepositions. We also follow prepositions with a gerund. So, quick review, what are some prepositions? In, into, on, onto, for, to, about, from, above, over, beyond, under, and then all those location words. But pretty much all the prepositions follow with a gerund. Now, you can also follow with a regular noun as well. So let's look at our first example. Into. So what if you say, I'm into something? I'm into playing sports. When you say I'm into, that's kind of like an expression. That means I really like something. I really like to do something. It's like saying I enjoy something. So I'm into playing soccer. You could also say I'm into soccer. You could use a negative. I'm not into playing soccer. You could say I'm into traveling. I'm into checking out new restaurants. I'm into learning new languages. All right, another example of prepositions. Feel like. Like is used as a preposition when it's used together with feel. Okay, so feel like together is used as a preposition. So you could say, I feel like taking a walk. This is like kind of like a state of be, something that you feel like doing, something that you want to do. It's a feeling. Okay, and you follow with a gerund. I feel like staying home and watching a movie. You could add a negative. I don't feel like staying home. I don't feel like doing my homework. Now, sometimes people will say, I feel like tacos. Okay, that doesn't mean you feel like a taco. Sometimes when people are trying to decide what they want to eat or where they want to go to lunch, sometimes they say, well, what do you feel like eating? And then sometimes the response is, I feel like tacos, or I feel like Italian. That's just a little something you might hear people say. But normally we'll follow with a gerund. Now, sometimes there are expressions and verbs that you can follow with an infinitive or a gerund, and you have the option for both, and they're both correct. All right, so what are some of those examples? Okay, we have the phrase, can't stand. Okay, when you say I can't stand something, it means you don't like it, okay, or you really hate it. For example, I can't stand being in a messy room. So being is the gerund. You can also say I can't stand to be in a messy room, and that's the infinitive, to be. Both are acceptable, both are correct. What else can you say? You can say I can't stand driving in slow traffic. I can't stand to drive in slow traffic. Both are correct. And you can also use love and hate. I love taking my friends to cool new clubs. I love to take my friends to cool new clubs. And hate. I hate getting up for early morning classes. Or I hate to get up for early morning classes. And if you use like by itself, not with feel, but just like, you can use a gerund or infinitive. I like to get up early. I like getting up early. And you can also add the word prefer. These are a lot of likes and not likes. Prefer. I prefer riding my bike to work. I prefer to ride my bike to work. Both of those are acceptable. All right, so now we're going to see how much you remember and how much you understand. We're going to take a quick 5-question quiz, and I'm going to read some sentences, and you decide which ones are correct. Number 1, I enjoy to cook. I enjoy cooking. Which one is correct? The second one, I enjoy cooking. Remember, with enjoy, we can only use a gerund. Next one, I like to visit my friends on the weekend. I like visiting my friends on the weekend. Which one is correct? Or are they both correct? They are both correct. With like, by itself, you can use a gerund or infinitive. So both of these are correct. The next one, Lee avoids being out in the sun too long. Lee avoids to be out in the sun too long. So we have the verb avoid. So with avoid, we can only use a gerund. So yes, the first one is correct. Lee avoids being out in the sun too long. Number 4, I don't feel like to drive now. I don't feel like driving now. Remember, feel like is used as a preposition. So the second one is correct because we use gerunds after prepositions. I don't feel like driving now. The last one, he is worried about finishing his project on time. He is worried about to finishing his project on time. We have a preposition, about. So the first one is correct. He is worried about finishing. Finishing is a gerund. We don't say to finishing. So this concludes our brief lesson on verbs and prepositions followed by gerunds. I hope you found some value in this video. I hope you learned something. If you did, don't forget to give a like and subscribe. And don't forget to check out the links in the description below. Happy learning, everyone.